Why do we regret? Regret is like a shadow that follows us, lingering in the background of our lives. It doesn't ask permission to stay, and if we aren't careful, it grows heavier as we age. But what if we could avoid that weight? Confucius, one of the greatest philosophers of all time, taught us not just about life's responsibilities, but how to live without regret. His wisdom is timeless, and if we apply it today, we can find peace in the choices we make and the lives we lead. Imagine you're sitting alone in your old age, reflecting on the choices you've made. Will you be filled with peace or haunted by what you didn't do? Confucius said, "It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop." One of the greatest sources of regret is feeling like we haven't done enough. But Confucius reminds us that progress, no matter how slow, is still progress. Life isn't about speed, it's about consistency, about moving forward even when it's hard. The small steps you take today will build the foundation for a future free of regret. It's not about rushing through life, but about moving steadily toward what matters most. Another powerful teaching from Confucius is to choose a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life. Regret often comes from spending years in work that doesn't fulfill us, from giving our energy and time to things that drain us rather than nourish us. Confucius urges us to align our work with our passion, to find meaning in what we do every day. As we grow older, the things that brought us joy or dissatisfaction in our careers will become more apparent. If you find something you love, your work will feel like an extension of your life's purpose, not a burden. Imagine looking back in your old age and feeling pride, not exhaustion, from the work you've done. Confucius's wisdom on work reminds us that it's not just about earning a living, but living a life. One of the biggest regrets people have is not nurturing their relationships. Confucius once said, "Respect yourself and others will respect you." Relationships, whether with family, friends, or partners, are the bedrock of a fulfilling life. But respect is the key. If we don't respect ourselves, we can't truly respect others, and without that mutual respect, relationships crumble. In old age, the friendships and bonds we've built become our greatest treasures. Confucius knew that by cultivating respect, we build strong relationships that stand the test of time. Don't let the years slip by without showing love, appreciation, and respect to those who matter most. Confucius also teaches us about learning and growth. He said, "Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance." So many people regret not learning more or expanding their minds while they had the chance. It's easy to fall into complacency, to think we know enough. But Confucius reminds us that true wisdom comes from recognizing what we don't know and seeking to learn more. In your old age, will you look back and wish you had learned more, explored more, been more curious? Confucius's words are a call to keep learning, no matter your age. Education isn't just something you do in school, it's a lifelong process. The more you learn, the less you'll regret missed opportunities to grow. Another of Confucius's teachings that helps us avoid regret is about action. When it is obvious that the goals cannot be reached, don't adjust the goals, adjust the action steps. Too often, we give up on our dreams because they seem too far out of reach. But Confucius teaches us that the problem isn't the dream, it's the approach. If you change your actions, you can still achieve what you've set your heart on. In old age, people often regret not pursuing their passions or giving up on dreams too easily. Confucius reminds us that failure isn't final. Adjust your steps, keep moving forward, and don't abandon your dreams just because the road is difficult. When you look back, you won't regret the effort you put into making your goals a reality. Confucius also had wise words about morality and integrity. The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions. As we grow older, what will matter most are not the things we said, but the things we did. Integrity is everything. Will you look back and be proud of the way you treated others, the way you stood by your values? Or will you regret moments where you compromised who you are for the sake of convenience? Confucius urges us to let our actions speak louder than our words. It's easy to make promises or talk about our principles, but true satisfaction comes from living them. In your old age, the peace that comes from knowing you acted with integrity will far outweigh any temporary satisfaction from cutting corners. Let's also talk about forgiveness. Confucius said, "To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it." Holding on to grudges is one of the biggest sources of regret as we age. People spend years harboring bitterness and resentment, only to realize too late that it wasn't worth the emotional toll. Confucius reminds us that forgiveness is for our own peace of mind. When you let go of the wrongs done to you, you free yourself from the chains of anger and regret. In your old age, the burden of carrying unresolved pain can be heavy. Forgiveness lightens that load. Don't let bitterness keep you from living fully. Release it, and you'll find that you have more room for joy. Finally, Confucius's philosophy on simplicity helps us avoid regret in old age. He said, "Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated. How often do we regret the time we spent stressing over things that didn't really matter?" Confucius reminds us that life's true joys come from the simple things: spending time with loved ones, enjoying nature, pursuing meaningful work. When we overcomplicate our lives with unnecessary worries, we miss out on the beauty of simplicity. In old age, those moments of peace, contentment, and simplicity will be what you treasure most. Don't wait until it's too late to realize that life doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. So, what will you take away from Confucius's wisdom? As you journey through life, apply his teachings to avoid regret in your later years. Move forward, even if slowly. Find work that brings joy. Nurture your relationships with respect. Keep learning and growing. Adjust your actions, not your dreams. Live with integrity. Forgive quickly, and most of all, simplify your life. These lessons from Confucius can guide you toward a life filled with peace, meaning, and most importantly, no regrets.